Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers are advised that the following program contains images and voices of people who have died.
Hey, how's it going? Nat here. Let's see what's making news. Today is Mabo Day, which marks the anniversary of the historic 1992 Mabo decision on indigenous land rights. Here's Justina.
Way up north in the Torres Strait, Mer Island is known for one of Australia's most famous court cases, Mabo Versus Queensland, where this guy, Koiki Mabo, took on Australia's High Court during the 1980s to 1990s. Eddie was a Meriam man, born on the Island of Mer, or Mer Island, which is where his ancestors lived for thousands of years. But when British settlers arrived, they declared Mer Island, along with the rest of the country, Terra Nullius, or empty land, which meant it could be claimed by the British Crown. When Eddie learnt that his people didn't legally own their own land, he decided to do something about it. In the 1980s, he and some fellow Mer Islanders, including his wife Bonita, took their case to the highest court in Australia. Over 10 years, they presented evidence proving that Mer Island had never been Terra Nullius. On the 3rd of June 1992, the High Court made its decision.
The High Court has recognised there were people here and their descendants have rights.
Torres Strait Islanders Australia-wide are really thrilled with the outcome.
The Mabo case led to the Native Title Act of 1993, which paved the way for thousands of native title claims around the country, giving traditional owners the right to fish, hunt, practice ceremonies on their land and even make money from it. Sadly, Eddie died before the 1992 decision was made, but his legacy lives on today.
Boeing Starliner space capsule has had its maiden crewed flight postponed again. The launch last Saturday was automatically halted just 3 minutes and 50 seconds before liftoff, thanks to a problem with the rocket's computers. It's the third attempt to get the crewed mission off the ground, after a leak in the capsule postponed the launch in May, and again a bit over a week ago. Real Madrid have won the Champions League title for a record-breaking 15th time. That and more in sport.
It's their trophy again.
Yep. After a 2-0 win against German side Borussia Dortmund, Spanish champs Real Madrid have once again won world football's biggest club competition, the European Champions League. Madrid now holds the title for, well, having the most titles. They have won the Champions League more than any other team. And yeah, they're pretty stoked. Australia has won the Women's World Rugby 7 series, crushing France 26-7 in Madrid.
Australia champions in Madrid!
All eyes were on Madison Levy, who scored a whopping 13 of Australia's 21 tries in the series, including 3 hat-tricks in 5 games.
Simply superb!
And finally, to the World Surf League in Hawaii, where Brazilian surfer Tatiana Weston Webb has just made history as the first woman to achieve a perfect 10 at Teahupo.
A deep one for Weston Webb.
For years, only men were allowed to surf at this beach in Tahiti because it was considered too dangerous for women. So Tatiana's achievement is a pretty big deal.
Now it's time for some stories about people who are doing pretty well for themselves. I guess you could say they're living their best lives. First up to Western Sydney, where 18-year-old Etisham has gone viral for taking his horse through a drive-through.
I saw the McDonald's there and I don't know, it was so normal to me. I was like, you know what? Let's take the horse through the drive-through.
He's now become a popular sight around town, even riding his horse on the road, which he's allowed to do because in Australia, horses are considered vehicles. Now to a group of mermaids in Newcastle.
Last spring I started a Facebook group. Within 2 days I ended up with over 100 people join the group.
Yep, these folks have started a community of like-minded swimmers who love getting dressed up in their monofins, living out their best mermaid lives.
I never used to go out past the waves and now I can go out into the deep without even stressing.
And finally to Queensland, where hundreds of kids have taken part in the biggest game of Keepy Uppy, the game made famous by Bluey. The rules were simple.
You have to bounce the ball up in the air and until it falls down. You have to keep up the ball and not let it touch the ground. 702
kids from Brisbane, Cairns and the Gold Coast took part in the event, which lasted a minute. Oh, and did I mention they set a new world record? Well, that's all we've got for you today. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. That's it, man.